Unbelievable twist, stepmother's heartbreaking decision sparks incredible life-changing journey. Hannah stood in the kitchen, the aroma of burnt toast filling the air as tears blurred her vision. Just a year had passed since she buried her husband, and it felt like the ground beneath her was shifting, crumbling. Everything she once knew was engulfed in shadow, and the light that he had brought into their lives was now just a memory. Wiping her eyes, she found herself lost in thought, haunted by his laughter and the echo of their children's playful voices. Tyler and Emily were still trying to make sense of their grief, just as she was. Every morning, she donned that brave face. After all, she was a veteran, trained to withstand storms. Yet, facing her children, that was a different battle. Tyler, her 10-year-old son, had taken to acting out, his anger exploding like fireworks, while little Emily, who was only 6, stayed quiet and withdrawn, clutching her stuffed animal tighter than ever. How could she heal them when her own heart felt shattered? Then came Jake, the kind-hearted stranger she agreed to marry. He offered safety, financial stability, and a smiling face when all she could do was cry. But it turned out that his presence only seemed to serve as a reminder of what they had lost. Every shared moment in their little house felt strained. Tyler would roll his eyes at Jake trying to play catch, and Emily would retreat to her bedroom whenever he approached. Why couldn't they see that Jake just wanted to help? Still, it was as if they saw him as nothing more than an intruder. The weight of that turmoil bore down on Hannah. Every dinner was a chore, filled with tension slicing through conversation like a sharp knife. One night, when Jake suggested taking a job in a nearby city one with more pay, Hannah's heart sank deeper. "You're thinking of leaving us?" she cried out, the tremor in her voice a plea for understanding. Jake believed that financial security would result in a happy family, but as the flames of grief and resentment crackled closer, Hannah felt her heart tighten in disbelief. Before she could reconcile those emotions, tragedy struck. A bakery, the crown jewel of their town, a beloved spot where the community gathered, went up in flames. Ashen ruins now replaced the warmth of laughter and sweet aromas. The town was devastated. Yet amid despair, Hannah watched Jake step up, his brow furrowed in determination as he organized a fundraiser. Emotions shifted as Tyler and Emily began to see the quiet strength in him. Maybe he could be trusted. Maybe there was hope. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue, but just when a flicker of respect began to warm the icy distance in their home, the weight of their unspoken issues threatened to explode. Hannah and Jake's hushed arguments turned into clashes, echoing through the hallways while Tyler and Emily exchanged worried glances. The fracture in their new family felt impossible to bridge. In the mix of turmoil, Hannah began to wonder, could love truly mend the gaping wounds of loss, or were they destined to remain torn by grief forever? She found herself at a precipice, clinging to the hope that somehow, in all this chaos, they could redefine what family meant. But the shadow of doubt loomed large, a question that left her trembling in uncertainty. Was this truly the moment to build something new, or would it be the final blow that broke them all apart? The morning sun crept through the kitchen window, casting soft rays on Hannah's weary face. She stirred the oatmeal, the familiar motions grounding her in reality, even as her mind raced. Tyler had yet to come down, and Emily was still curled up on the couch, eyes glazed, as if she were somewhere far away. Jake had left early for the fundraiser planning meeting, armed with fresh ideas and an unyielding determination to bring the town together. She admired that spark in him, but sometimes it felt like a dagger piercing her heart. Did he really think they could just move on? The memories of better days weighed heavily, and each laugh he brought out of their children felt like an unfulfilled promise, a ghost whispering in her ear, reminding her of the life they should have had with Michael. Tyler stormed into the kitchen, the sound of his footsteps slamming like thunder. Why do I have to help him? He shoved a slice of toast into his mouth, barely chewing, his cheeks puffing out like a chipmunk. Because, Tyler, he's trying to help. The town needs us, Hannah replied, forcing herself to keep her tone calm despite the churning frustration inside. He's not my dad. He'll never be my dad. Tyler shouted, slamming his hand down on the table. The sound reverberated through the kitchen, shattering Hannah's resolve. She felt tears prick at her eyes, anger mixing with despair. It's not about that, she said softly, her voice breaking. Nobody is asking you to forget your dad. It's about supporting each other. Her son's eyes softened, confusion battling with his anger. But why can't you see how it hurts? A tight knot formed in Hannah's chest. She was tired of hearing that question. Couldn't he see she was hurting too? Tyler, I know it's hard. Trust me, I feel it every day, she said, her voice gentle. But we're all trying to find a way through this. As the words hung in the air, the tension crackled. Emily, hearing the raised voices, slowly wandered into the kitchen, her shy demeanor a stark contrast to the storm brewing around her. Is it bad in here? She whispered, clutching her stuffed unicorn. The sight of her daughter pulled at Hannah's heartstrings. Who was she to drag these little souls through the ruins of their past? No, sweetheart, Hannah moved toward Emily, kneeling to meet her gaze. We're just trying to talk. Why don't you come sit with us? Emily nodded, her big eyes scanning her brother's face for reassurance. Tyler shot her a quick glare before looking away, clearly still upset. As they gathered around the table, Hannah felt the fragments of their family pulling together, yet the unresolved tension was a raging river threatening to spill over once more. Why don't we all go to the fundraiser tonight? Hannah suggested, surprising herself with the idea. It could be good for us, a fresh start. Tyler's face scrunched up in disdain. I don't want to go. We never get to choose any fun things anymore. Before Hannah could respond, Jake's voice filled the doorway. Hey, everyone. Ready for the big night? He wore a bright smile, brimming with energy, completely unaware of the turmoil simmering around him. Hannah glanced between her children and Jake, anxiety lacing her stomach. Would tonight be the breakthrough they desperately needed, or would it be another attempt at normalcy that spiraled into chaos? As she looked at Jake, the man she was trying so earnestly to allow into their lives, she realized she needed to take a chance, for her sake and for the kids. Yet, doubt still whispered in her mind, echoing like shadows at dusk. What if the night didn't go as planned? What if the past dug its claws deep into their budding hope? Hannah took a deep breath, her heart racing with the uncertainty ahead. Stepping into that fundraiser could alter everything, but was she ready to face what lay beyond? The sun hung high in the sky, casting a warm glow over the community center as Hannah pulled her car into the crowded parking lot. Tyler sat in the back seat, arms crossed defiantly, while Emily was glued to the window, her wide eyes soaking in the spectacle of lights and laughter. Hannah's heart fluttered with equal parts excitement and dread. Could this night really serve as a turning point? Tyler, we're here. You need to get out, Hannah said gently, glancing at the rearview mirror. Why do I even have to come? He muttered, his voice low and filled with resentment. Because I said so, she replied, her patience straining but her voice firm. Jake stepped outside, a beacon of positivity amidst the mounting tension. His smile was infectious, but for Tyler, it was simply another reminder of the man he saw as an intruder. Hey, buddy. You ready to help out? He called, waving an enthusiastic hand as he approached. Tyler's face twisted into a frown. No. He barked, gathering up his courage. I don't want to be here. Hannah felt a stab of disappointment, but she forced herself to remain calm. Come on, just give it a chance. Let us have fun tonight, okay? She wanted to reach him, to remind him there was still joy in the world, but her words felt ineffective, like whispering against a hurricane. Ignoring her request, Tyler stepped out of the car, slamming the door shut, and began walking away from the parking lot. Heart racing, Hannah jumped out after him, Emily trailing behind. "Tyler, wait!" she called, her voice sharper than she intended. He stopped abruptly, his small frame stiff with defiance. "You don't get it," he shouted, his voice cutting through the chatter of the arriving crowd. "That's not true." Hannah pressed, desperation creeping in. "I want to understand. I want to support you, but you need to let me in," she pleaded, stepping closer, desperate for connection. Tyler's shoulders slumped, his anger wavering. "I just want Dad." His voice cracked, revealing the raw pain buried beneath the surface. A lump formed in Hannah's throat. "So do I, sweetheart. So do I." Her own tears threatened to spill. In that moment, she felt the weight of their shared grief, and for the first time in a long time, they were united in their sorrow. "Hey, how about we go inside?" Jake suggested, his tone soothing. He took a step towards Tyler, offering the peace he so desperately needed from his stepfather. "I promise, there's lots of fun stuff planned. Just remember, your dad would want you to enjoy yourself." Tyler looked between them, battling demons of uncertainty and acceptance. It took a moment, but then, he relented. "Fine," he muttered, but the edge was gone, replaced by the tiniest flicker of hope. Hannah glanced down at Emily, who had taken hold of her hand, guiding them toward the entrance, where colorful balloons danced in the breeze. In that instant, she felt a rush of realization. Moments like these didn't need fixing, they simply needed to be lived. Inside, laughter filled the air, and the scent of popcorn drifted past them. The community center was alive with vibrant decorations and cheerful voices. She felt an uneasy tension in her chest, but also something else: curiosity. Could tonight be a gateway into a new chapter? As they stepped further inside, Hannah caught a glimpse of familiar faces. Old friends mingled with new ones, all enveloped in the spirit of festivity. Yet as she turned to point out a game to Emily, she saw someone unexpected emerge from the crowd, a face that sent her heart racing with both excitement and fear. It was Michael's sister, Grace. What was she doing here? Hannah's breath caught in her throat, wondering if this unexpected encounter could either help heal the wounds or open old scars. "Mom." Tyler pulled at her sleeve, his voice barely above a whisper. "Who is that?" Hannah hesitated, her heartbeat quickening. What would she say? How would Tyler react? As Jake stepped into the scene, oblivious to the flood of emotions rushing through her, Hannah felt the door to the past crack open wider, whispering stories yet untold. "Mom." Tyler pressed again, confusion lacing his voice. "Do you know her?" Hannah turned to face her son, grappling with what would come next. Did she dare to reveal her history, one that could either tear them apart or bring them closer together? The night had only just begun, and the threads of their lives were about to intertwine in ways she never imagined. Hannah stood frozen, her mind racing. The sight of Grace stirred up feelings she thought she'd buried deep. Thoughts of the past swirled, wrapping around her like a vice. What if Tyler found out more than he was ready to handle? "Mom." Tyler repeated, more insistently this time, his eyes darting between her and the woman across the room. Uncertainty and longing danced behind his gaze. Just a friend," Hannah managed to say, her voice strained as she tried to stall. But the truth felt like a weight pressing deeper into her heart. How could she lie about something so significant? Jake, sensing the intensity, bent down to Tyler's level. "How about we go grab some popcorn first? It might help lighten the mood," he suggested, flashing a reassuring smile, but the spark of defiance had returned to Tyler's face. "I don't want popcorn. I want to know." His voice rose, drawing attention from a few nearby guests. Hannah swallowed hard as she felt all the eyes shift toward them. "Tyler, please," she whispered urgently, hoping to quiet the moment before it escalated. But her son's need to understand was clear. She met his gaze, and in his eyes, she saw her own fear reflected back at her. Grace had noticed the commotion. She hesitated before walking toward them, her expression unreadable, yet there was a softness in her demeanor that reminded Hannah of better times. As Grace reached them, she offered a tentative smile. "Hi, Hannah. It's been a while," she said, her voice warm but laced with underlying tension. "Yeah, it has," Hannah replied, struggling to keep her composure. How are you?" "Surviving. You know how it is. Just wanted to support the community." "I heard about the event," Grace said, glancing over at Tyler, who looked between the two women with curiosity. "This is..." Hannah hesitated, the words stuck in her throat. "This is my son, Tyler." Grace's expression softened even more as she looked at him. "Nice to meet you, Tyler." Tyler barely acknowledged her, his brows still knitted together in confusion. "Why do you look like my dad?" he blurted out, and a hush fell around them. Hannah's heart sank. It was as if the ground had been pulled from underneath her. She felt exposed, trembling on the edge of an emotional cliff. "Dad?" Grace's voice cracked, and she took an instinctive step closer. I can explain. Just leave us alone." Tyler snapped, and Hannah saw the familiar fury in his eyes. He was scared of the unknown, of the connections that could complicate everything he was already wrestling with. "Please, Tyler," Hannah pleaded, feeling the need to shield him from more pain. But Grace stepped forward, raising her hands in a pacifying gesture. "I promise I'm not here to cause trouble, Tyler. I just want to help. Your dad loved you so much. We all did." Hannah watched as Tyler's defenses crumbled slightly, the raw emotion of loss surfacing anew. But the tension remained thick. "But why did he leave?" Tyler's voice broke, revealing the hurt still lingering in his heart. A shadow passed over Grace's face. "He didn't want to leave. He was taken from us," she said softly, a depth of sorrow behind her words that resonated with Hannah. The weight of that truth loomed in the air, heavy and haunting. Hannah turned to Tyler, her voice barely above a whisper. "Maybe sharing this will help you understand." Tyler looked up at her, searching for hope amidst the swirling confusion, part of him longing to learn more about the father he could barely remember. Yet, Hannah's own fears battled within her. Was she ready to face those memories? The ones that could hurt them both even more. It was a decision that could change everything. That as Samantha navigated the emotional minefield before her, she caught Grace's hesitant look. "Maybe I can explain some things," Grace offered tentatively, the sincerity in her voice promising something unexpected, but Hannah wasn't sure if she could bear any more revelations. The night was supposed to be a breakthrough, not a descent into the past. "Mom. Can we, please?" Tyler's soft request broke through her anxious thoughts, his eyes pleading with her to take a chance. Hannah stood at a crossroads, knowing that one step in either direction could lead to a future she could never anticipate. What would she choose? In that moment, the air in the community center felt electric, each soul around her waiting, holding their breath in unity, witnessing the raw ache of a family on the verge of a breakthrough or a breakdown. And as she began to speak, Hannah knew that whatever came next could redefine everything. Hannah inhaled deeply, the air prickling with uncertainty. Every breath felt heavy as if it carried the weight of years of unspoken truths. She glanced at Grace, who stood there with a guarded expression, longing mixed with regret shimmering in her eyes. "Tyler, I know there are things you don't understand," Hannah began, her voice shaking just a little. "But your father. It's complicated." The words felt insufficient, like trying to contain an ocean in a teacup. "Complicated?" Tyler's voice echoed through the expansive community center, drawing even more curious gazes. "He's just some guy I barely know. And now he's gone." His fists clenched, and Hannah felt the heat of his anger radiate across the small space. "Please, Tyler." Hannah softened her voice, hoping to draw him back from the edge. "There's more to the story. I thought keeping it from you would protect you. But you deserve to know." She glanced back at Grace, whose eyes widened slightly at the unexpected decision. Grace took a step closer, her gaze fixed on Tyler. "When I met your dad, he was just amazing, Tyler. He would talk about you all the time. He loved you, even when things got ugly." Tyler's anger cracked just a little, a flicker of vulnerability slipping through as the hurt in his eyes deepened. "What do you mean, ugly?" A whisper now, it hung in the air like a fragile note carried on the wind. "No." Hannah interjected swiftly, the protective instinct rising. "This isn't the way. Not here. Not now." She shook her head, feeling the storm inside her brewing and threatening to overwhelm. "But Mom," Tyler insisted, "this is my life. I need to know who he was, what happened." Hannah felt a tightness in her chest, her heart racing at the thought of opening those floodgates. Yet, there was a raw honesty in his eyes that screamed for the truth, and deep down, she knew he was right. They owed it to him. Taking a breath, she looked at Grace. "Can you tell him about the accident?" Grace nodded slowly, her expression softening further. "When we lost him, it wasn't supposed to be like that. He wanted to be with you. There was just a moment of chaos. It was a freak accident." Tyler's brows knitted together, confusion and despair swirling together in a complicated dance. A freak accident? Like, how? "It was when he was volunteering," Grace explained, emotion thickening her voice. "He was trying to help someone in trouble, and it went wrong." The words hit Tyler like a punch to the gut. The puzzle pieces of his father's absence began to shift but left only more darkness behind. So he died trying to help someone. Why didn't anyone tell me? Hannah stepped closer, her heart aching for her son. "Because I thought it would be safer for you to remember him as the hero, not the man who got taken too soon. But he wasn't just some hero. He was my dad." Tyler's voice rose again, determination mixing with the hurt. "Yes," Hannah murmured, tears threatening to spill over. "He was all those things. Your dad was a good man, Tyler. And you have so much of him in you." The room felt charged with emotions swirling around them: pain, sorrow, understanding. Glances exchanged between neighboring guests whispered of shared grief and connection. Something within Tyler shifted, a mixture of acceptance and turmoil coloring his features. "What if I don't want to remember him like that?" "Then we will remember together," Hannah said, her gaze unwavering as she grasped his shoulders. "We will find ways to honor him. I promise." On the other side of the room, Grace watched, brimming with unspent emotion, bridging the past and present in a complicated knot of shared loss. "You're not alone in this. He loved you. I did too." Tyler looked from Hannah to Grace, vulnerability cracking through his bravado. "And what if I'm not ready?" Hannah's heart sank at that question. "Then you take your time, sweetheart. We're here for you. Always." The tension eased, leaving room for a new understanding to bloom, yet doubt still lingered like a slow current beneath the surface. Would this truth strengthen their bond or break it further? As Hannah glanced around at the faces witnessing this moment, she realized they all paused, waiting for what would come next. She could feel the potential energy building, the choice yet to be made, one that could shift the course of their lives entirely. Before she could reach for the words to offer Tyler reassurance, the soft sound of glass shattering echoed from the back of the room, startling everyone. All heads turned in horror as a shadow fell across them, and a moment of collective disbelief settled like heavy fog. What had just happened? The air shifted, a new challenge ready to unravel the fragile connection they were building. Hannah's heart raced again, but this time, not just from the emotions but from the unforeseen threat looming just beyond their fragile newfound truth. Hannah's breath caught in her throat as her eyes darted toward the source of the sound. A figure emerged from the shadows at the back of the community center, their face partially obscured by the dim light. The atmosphere thickened with tension, and each person stood frozen, gasping at the unexpected interruption. "Mom!" Tyler shouted, stepping slightly in front of Hannah, instinctively protective. His voice trembled, revealing a mix of fear and defiance. "Who is that?" Hannah's heart pounded. She scanned the room, searching for signs of recognition, but the faces around her were equally bewildered. Was it a stranger? An intruder? Her mind raced with possibilities, but all she could focus on was the look on Tyler's face, wide-eyed and fearful. As the figure drew closer, the light caught their features. It was a woman, her hair disheveled and her clothes smudged. But as she grew clearer in the light, Hannah felt an icy grip of disbelief. "Lila?" she whispered, the name slipping from her lips unbidden. Tyler turned back to her, confusion flashing in his blue eyes. "You know her? Lila was your dad's girlfriend," Hannah stammered, trying to process the reality of the moment. She felt a surge of protectiveness wash over her. What was Lila doing here, after all this time? "Surprise," Lila said dryly, her voice rough as if it hadn't been used in a while. "I thought it was time to show up." "Show up?" Tyler echoed, his voice hardening. "After all this time, why now?" Lila hesitated, her expression shifting from defiance to something softer. "Because I heard about his passing, and it hit me harder than expected. I'm sorry I left you both to deal with this alone." Hannah felt her chest tighten again, her protective instincts clashing with curiosity. "Why would you come here, Lila? This isn't the time or place for rehashing old stories." Lila sighed, looking down for a moment, raw emotion flickering across her features. "I didn't know I would find you both here, but I had to what?" Tyler interrupted harshly, crossing his arms. "Had to make an appearance after being gone. You don't get to just waltz in like it's nothing." A heavy silence followed, broken only by the murmurs of the crowd, who had retreated to their corners, curiously peering at this unexpected turn. "I know I don't deserve forgiveness," Lila said, tears welling in her eyes. "But I have things to share about your dad that might help. That might explain. I thought I could bring some closure." Tyler's fury faded momentarily, replaced with an inquisitive glance. "Closure? What do you know? Why didn't you tell me before?" Hannah felt the room closing in, the walls of their emotional fortress now shaking under the weight of Lila's arrival. Suddenly, the truth sprawled out like a web, sticky and complicated. "We can't do this here," she finally said, voice steady. "You're bringing chaos to a fragile moment, Lila." But Lila stepped forward, defiance returning to her voice. "You don't have to protect him anymore, Hannah. If you really care about what he wants, he deserves to know everything." The energy in the room shifted once more. Tyler's pain was no longer masked by anger, curiosity was inching to the forefront. "What do you mean?" he asked, his voice now lower, desperate. The tension was palpable as Hannah faced Lila. The emotional walls they had just started to build were being chipped away, and a looming storm threatened to pull them back into the chaos. But in a moment, as they locked eyes, Hannah realized she had to make a decision. Would she let the past infiltrate their tentative bond, or would she stand her ground? In the midst of their turmoil, the shadow that had loomed over them all these years was starting to surface, demanding to be confronted. "Tyler, you can choose to hear her out, but be ready for whatever comes," she said quietly, the weight of her words sinking deep into the surrounding silence. Would Tyler accept the truth, or was he stepping into a territory best left unexplored? Hannah sensed both danger and possibility swirling around them, a turning point that could reshape everything. Before anyone could respond, a distant crash echoed from outside, jolting everyone back into the present. A reminder that amidst the turmoil and revelations, life still pushed forward, relentless and unpredictable. What would happen next? Would they be ready to face whatever truths lay just beyond their fragile peace? Hannah's heart raced as the room remained in a charged silence, the tension barely contained. Lila stood before them, a ghost from the past, breathing life into memories they had fought to bury. The faces of the people in the community center swirled with a blend of disbelief and intrigue, drawing their attention away from grief and towards the potential unraveling of secrets. Hannah's voice was barely a whisper, the words stumbling out over the weight of emotions. "We need to decide how to handle this." She felt the eyes of the room on them, amplifying her anxiety. "What is there to decide?" Tyler snapped, his frustration spilling over. "She shows up here, of all places, and now I'm supposed to just, listen to her? After everything?" The crowd shifted uneasily. Some exchanged knowing glances, while others strained to catch every word. Hannah understood Tyler's anger, it felt justified, but the raw weight of Lila's sorrow tugged at her heart. "You don't have to accept her story now. We can step outside, away from all this no." Lila's voice cut through the chaos, her desperation rising. "You need to know the truth about your father. This is bigger than me. It always has been." "What do you mean by that?" Tyler's frown deepened, brow furrowed as he assessed her. Hannah noticed Lila's hands trembling. He had secrets, things he never shared, and those secrets could help you understand who he really was. You shouldn't have to carry his burden alone. "Secrets?" Tyler echoed, processing the weight of her words like a puzzle locking into place. His defensive stance softened just a little. "Yes," Lila stumbled forward, urgency glimmering in her eyes. "I realized too late that I was a coward. I should be been there for him and for you. But it's not too late for you, Tyler. It can't be. Some things just cannot stay hidden forever." A collective murmur swept through the crowd. Hannah couldn't shake the notion that they were all peering into a turning point that left her feeling vulnerable and exposed. "Let's take this outside," Hannah suggested, her voice cutting through the noise. "We can talk where we can think clearly." Tyler hesitated, glancing between Hannah and Lila. Finally, he nodded, albeit reluctantly. "Fine. But I'm only doing this because I want answers." They made their way toward the side door, the eyes of the community center following them as if they were a live show unfolding. Lila hesitated before stepping through the threshold, as if the outside world would swallow her whole. As they stepped onto the quiet street, the night air felt different, heavy, charged with expectation. "Start talking," Tyler said, his voice hard but wavering. "What do you know?" Lila inhaled deeply, steadying herself. "It's not just about him. It's about all of us. Your father lived in a world of shadows, and I was a part of it. I have to show you why it mattered to him and why it should matter to you." Hannah's heart sank at the implications of those words, the lingering thought that the past had reasons for existing that would soon throb alive and raw. "Well, my curiosity is officially piqued," Tyler said, arms crossed, but the challenge in his stance faltered as he glanced back at Hannah, uncertainty flickering in his eyes. "Just be ready, Tyler," Hannah murmured, her heart heavy with dread. "Some truths can shatter us." But there was no turning back. The air was thick with impending revelations, the kind that could reshape their lives in ways they couldn't yet imagine. Just then, a loud revving engine broke the silence, and headlights pierced through the darkness, a sudden surge of energy catching everyone off guard. "What now?" Tyler exclaimed, shooting a glance towards the approaching vehicle. Was this their cue for help, or further chaos threatening to unravel everything they thought they knew? As they turned to face whatever was coming, the feeling of impending transformation loomed large, a final cliffhanger before the next chapter of their lives unfolded. The headlights blazed blindingly bright against the night as the vehicle drew closer, shattering the moment of fragile calm. Tyler instinctively took a step back, his posture tense as if bracing for impact. A surge of unease pulsed through Hannah. As the car finally halted, dust kicked up around it, swirling in the beam like confetti celebrating chaos. The door swung open, and a figure stepped out, a woman with short, tousled hair, looking both familiar and foreign. "Mom." Tyler squinted, confusion knitting his brow. "What are you doing here?" Hannah's breath caught in her throat as the reality settled in. It was Tyler's mother, the woman whose absence had cast a long shadow over their lives. The whispers of the crowd echoed in her ears, disbelief rippling through them. They had expected secrets, revelations, but not this. I couldn't stay away any longer. His mother's voice trembled, anguish and regret twisted her features. I meant to, I really did. But then I heard about Lila being here tonight. Lila's eyes widened. You didn't say anything. You didn't tell him the truth. It was never my place. She clenched her fists, her nails biting into her palms. I thought I was protecting him. But Tyler has a right to know. A tidal wave of emotion swept through the three of them, thick and suffocating. Tyler's expression transitioned from shock to a mixture of frustration and longing. What truth? You left. You never cared. That's not true. It was a mistake, a monumental mistake. I had my reasons. Reasons? Reasons to abandon your own son. Tyler, please. She stepped closer, her voice barely above a whisper now. I wanted to keep you safe. The world I lived in, the dangers I encountered, it was for your protection. Hannah watched as Tyler's resolve wavered. She could see the conflict written on his face, a dance of hurt and yearning for his mother. Deep down, she felt it too, a sympathy toward the woman who had chosen silence over presence. But you weren't there. You didn't fight for me. You didn't even try. He shouted, words laced with deep-seated hurt. The plea in his voice shattered the night's stillness. It tore me apart every day, Tyler. I thought I could afford to make that choice, but I was wrong. Hannah stepped forward, feeling the immediacy of their exchange like a tugging thread. Maybe we should all sit down, find some common ground. There are too many emotions storming the air right now. Both Tyler and his mother turned to her, their pain hovering between them like a gaping void, a chasm of lost years, regret, and lingering love. What happens now? Tyler asked, searching their faces for answers. Am I supposed to forgive and forget? Just like that? The night felt charged, heavy with unsaid words, hanging in the balance of potential healing or continued separation. I don't expect forgiveness, his mother said, sorrow coloring her tone. But I'm here, finally, because I want to help however I can. I'll share whatever I know about your father and what he faced. The ground shifted beneath Hannah's feet. This wasn't just about a long-lost mother returning, this was the unraveling of a whole legacy of secrets entwining them in an unexpected web. Why did you come tonight? Lila broke into the tender tension. What do you know? A faint dawn of understanding flickered in Tyler's eyes. Hannah could almost see the pieces of the puzzle beginning to click together. As both women looked at him, a shared intensity pulsed among them. This was no longer just a confrontation, it had transformed into a desperate quest for truth. But with every heartfelt exchange came the shadows of another danger lurking just out of sight. Hannah felt a cold chill creep into the air as a dark silhouette loomed in the distance, watching, waiting. What if Tyler started, hesitating? But he couldn't finish. What if what? Lila urged, tension thickening. As all this unfolds, we're still not safe. Hannah's heart raced. The night was far from over, and dark truths were yet to emerge. What further calamity awaited them, and were they ready for another shocking turn in their tumultuous journey? The air around them felt electric, crackling with unspoken fears as Tyler's words hung like heavy mist. Both women stood poised to catch whatever came next, their breaths in sync, yet hearts pounding in wildly different rhythms. Hannah glanced at the looming silhouette, half tempted to reach for Tyler, to say something charming or hopeful, but words eluded her in the face of this palpable tension. Lila stepped forward, her voice a steady anchor. If there is something you know, we need to hear it now. Who's out there? Tyler's mother turned, eyes darting to the darkness beyond, an involuntary shiver racing down her spine. There are things I never wanted to repeat, not after everything that's happened. But I can't let you walk into danger unprepared. What do you mean? Tyler's voice cracked slightly, the defiance melting away to reveal the child in him, craving answers. Before she could respond, the silhouette took a step closer, the faint light finally revealing a man, his face shadowed but menacing. He approached slowly, deliberately, as if savoring every moment of their dread. Both the women instinctively moved a little closer to Tyler, their protective instincts flaring. "I'm sorry for intruding," the man spoke, his voice smooth but chilling, "but it seems I've just stumbled into quite the family reunion." The weight of his presence seemed to press down on them. Hannah wanted to shout for help, but her throat felt tight. Tyler shifted his stance, drawing both women tighter to him. "Who are you?" he demanded, though his voice quavered just enough to betray his anxiety. "A friend," he answered too casually. "Or, at least, I was. Until your mother chose to forget about the past." "What do you know about my mother?" His words came out more like a plea than a challenge. The man waved a dismissive hand, laughing softly. It was cold and humorless. "She danced with shadows, did she not? And now, those shadows have come to light." Tyler's mother paled, her hands trembling. "You shouldn't be here, shouldn't I?" He closed the distance, his eyes narrowing as he focused on her. "You took something precious from me. A secret kept too long demands a reclamation." Confusion rippled through the group. Hannah's heart raced, awareness settling deep in her gut. "What does he mean by precious?" she whispered, panic creeping into her breaths as she fought to process this unfolding disaster. "We don't have to do this here." "Not like this," Tyler's mother urged, desperation bubbling beneath her calm facade. "Let me explain." "What's there to explain?" Tyler shot back, anger rising as tears pricked the corners of his eyes. "First you disappear, and now this guy shows up dropping cryptic threats. Enough." Ah, the righteous indignation of youth. The man smirked, and for a moment, Hannah felt nauseated by his disdain. He took a step back, arms crossed. "This isn't just a family affair. It's a web that ensnares far beyond your naive understanding, my dear." Tyler squared his shoulders, raising his chin defiantly. "Tell me what you know, or get out. I won't let you terrorize my family anymore," he stated, voice steadier now, a brave facade against fear. The man's sharp laughter rang in the night, cutting like glass. "You have no idea what you're up against. But if you want answers, fine. I'm not leaving without what I came for." "Then what do you want?" Lila interjected, her tone no longer trembling. It fell like a blade, sharp and determined. The man leaned in, a glint of menace flashing in his eyes. "I want to show you the truth that will change everything." As he spoke, a sense of foreboding settled over them all, an ache deep in Hannah's chest. She glanced around, searching for an escape route. A choice loomed, and its robes of uncertainty wrapped tightly around them, stifling. Tyler stared defiantly again, words unspoken as endless possibilities stretched before them. He might be her rock tonight, but would it be enough to withstand what was to come? "Then show us," he said, taking a step forward, ready to confront whatever awaited them in that ill-fated unfolding story. The man smiled, chilling and plotting. "Very well. Let the truth be unveiled. But be warned, it may cost you more than you're willing to pay." And in that moment, Hannah realized the night's twisting path was just beginning, the road uncharted, shrouded in uncertainty and danger. What sacrifices lay ahead? Would their journey uncover the truth or deepen the wounds already festering within? The weight of the past pressed heavily upon them as the figure loomed in the night. Hannah's heart raced, but she had to focus. Everything inside her screamed to protect her children, to usher them away from danger. But could they turn their backs on the answers that lingered just outside the shadows? "Let us not continue this here," Jake said, stepping to Hannah's side, stoic and resolute, a lighthouse amidst the storm. "We need space to think." But the man, unyielding, shook his head. "You think distance will change what you face? The truth will follow you, like a shadow." "Then show us," Tyler's voice rang out, fierce and unrelenting. He took a deep breath, fueling his courage. "Let us get it all out in the open." With a reluctant nod and a wave of his hand, the man gestured toward the alley between two buildings, a realm where shadows thrived. Follow me. If you truly seek answers, you must be prepared for hard truths. Tyler glanced at his mother, uncertainty flickering in his eyes. This was the moment he'd been searching for, yet it was also the gateway to deeper pain. You ready for this? He asked softly. We'll face it together, Hannah whispered, entwining her fingers with Emily's, the strength of their little family trembling together. They ventured into the dim alley as the murmur of the crowd faded behind them. The walls closed in, marked by the echoes of their footsteps, and with each step, Hannah felt her heartbeat sink with the anxiety humming in the air. Once inside, the man turned to them, his face partially illuminated by a lone streetlight. Your father was not just a chef or a local hero. He was involved in things far more significant, things that put him, and now you, at risk. Hannah felt heat rise in her cheeks. What do you mean? What risk? Your father, stop. Tyler cut in, frustration bleeding into his tone. What does this have to do with us? With me? The man leaned closer, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. He was in the middle of uncovering some dangerous truths about a local organization. He was trying to protect you, but he also drew attention to things no one was meant to know. Shock rippled through the group. Tyler's fists clenched. So you're saying he was murdered? The man didn't flinch. I'm saying he was silenced. And it's the same shadow haunting you all. Lila, your father kept secrets from you too, and those secrets will always be linked to the truth about your mom. No. Hannah gasped. You can't drag her into this. I made the choices I did to protect him and my son. Protect or not, the past is a prison, Lila added, her voice steady. If we don't confront it, it will swallow us whole. We've all been part of this. What do you mean? Tyler asked, confused but intrigued. Lila swallowed hard. I knew your dad was in trouble, but I didn't know how deep it ran until it was too late. I was with him when he tried to dig deeper. I should warned you that's not good enough. Tyler shouted, voice reverberating against the brick walls. Tyler, Hannah reached for him, softening her voice. We can't let anger cloud every moment. We should focus on the truth, not blame. Truth. He sounded incredulous. If all this is real, then we're in danger. Yes, the man interjected, and you need to decide if you're prepared to embrace that reality, which is intertwined with who you are. Each choice leads you closer to understanding. Hannah fought against the tightness in her throat. Their lives had been marred by loss and grief, and now it seemed they were on the cusp of uncovering layers of danger too. Could she truly protect her children as they delved deeper? You don't have to go through this alone, Jake said, firmly standing by her side. I have to know who my father was, Tyler said, words steady, more resolute than before. What happened to him matters. It's part of me. He faced the figure with a sense of defiance. Then let us discover together, the man said, sensing the energy shift. There's still time for redemption, for resolution. But you have to be willing to act. What do we need to do? Hannah pushed, the urgency tinging her voice. Sign up. Join me as we uncover the truth, he urged, tone urgent. Your father's legacy isn't just whispers in the dark, it's a web of strength and courage that must be unraveled. It's what he wanted for you. Tyler exchanged meaningful glances with Hannah. Could he really bear the weight of whatever shadow loomed over them? But the bravery pooling in his eyes mirrored the family trait, undaunted, resolute. Hannah looked at her children, at Jake. In this tangled web, they were all searching for something tangible to believe in. A promise of hope, a way forward, a path through the gray skies. Yes, she decided, voice unwavering. We're in. Show us the way. For Michael. For our family. Very well, the man grinned, revealing a hint of a conspiratorial gleam in his eyes. Then let us uncover these truths together, but be ready. The shadows may fight back. As they left the alley, the dawn began to crack across the horizon, casting glimmers of light into the once dark corners of their lives. A new chapter was unfolding, one of hope, healing, and a fierce resolve to reclaim their destiny. Emboldened by their resolve, they took their first steps forward together, as a family. Now is the time for you to take action. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that can inspire your journey. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and support the channel. Your engagement makes a world of difference. Comment down below with your reactions and feelings about this transformative ending. We want to hear from you, and share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation and hope. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of these actions. Show your support.